And joining us now, the White House's Coronavirus Task Force Coordinator, Dr. Deborah Birx. Dr. Birx, good morning to you. It's good to have you with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
So we've heard this news now from the White House recommending that social distancing, what people should be doing, staying home, is expanded now for another month. The initial 15 days would have expired today, I believe. So what led to this change? What's the situation on the ground that requires this?
You know, we get data every day from around the globe, but more importantly from the United States. I think everyone understands now that you can go from 5 to 50 to 500 to 5,000 cases very quickly. We see this in many metropolitan areas. We're very worried about every city in the United States and the potential for this virus to get out of control, and we really believe that Americans with the right information will stay home.
And the president had said a couple of weeks ago he was hopeful, aspirational, that we could be back in business and packing masses on Easter Sunday. Obviously, this has changed. Now he's talking about potentially June 1st being a time that America could return somewhat to normal. Where are you on that timeline?
You know, I think we watch everything very carefully. We look at models, but we validate those models with the data that's coming in. And United States will look different than Europe, and Europe look different than Asia. And I think that we all have to be aware of that. It's not perfect science right now because we're projecting based on what we have today. And we know that the doubling rate of this virus is very high. And so that's why these 30 days allows us to really do both diagnostics, finding out who's positive because they're sick, and allows us to also get surveillance fully in place to really answer your question.
Yeah, you are in the middle of getting data, but you've seen quite a bit of data. I mean, to put it simply, is it worse than you would have expected it to be, or is it better? Is the social distancing having an effect?
I think in some of the metro areas we were late in getting people to follow the 15-day guidelines. And so we know that from the time you start doing everything that you need, staying home, social distancing, not going out to any restaurant, bars, or even being careful in the grocery stores, absolutely religious hand washing, all of this, we see some metro areas came late to that. I think it will be when this is over, we'll have a lot of time to really compare data about what really worked with this epidemic so that if it comes back in the fall, we'll be better prepared both with treatments, but also in really understanding how it spreads.
Dr. Fauci said yesterday we could see millions of cases in this country and as many as 100,000 to 200,000 deaths. Do you agree with that analysis? Is that a worst case scenario or something that we should prepare ourselves as potentially likely?
So in the flu models, the worst case scenario is between 1.6 million and 2.2 million deaths. That's the projection if you do nothing. So we've never really done all of these things that we're doing. We've put them into a model. We've looked at the Italy data with their self-isolation, and that's where we come up with, if we do things together well, almost perfectly, we could get in the range of 100,000 to 200,000 fatalities. We don't even want to see that.
I know, but you kind of take my breath away with that, because what I hear you saying is that's sort of the best case scenario. If everything works and people do the things you're asking them to do, maybe you can hold the deaths to 100,000 to 200,000 in this country.
Well, the best case scenario would be 100% of Americans doing precisely what is required. But we're not sure, based on the data that you're sharing from around the world and seeing these pictures, that all of America is responding in a uniform way to protect one another. So we also have to factor that in. Cities that don't social distances, that don't stay at home, that believe you can have social interactions, that believe you can have gatherings of homes of 20 and 10 people even, that is going to spread the virus even if everyone looks well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe on Meet the Press yesterday, you said that no state, no metro area will be spared. And I can imagine, I grew up in Arizona. I remember watching things and thinking, oh, that's a big city problem. That's not going to happen here. What's your message to not just the metro areas, but to rural areas as well?
So this virus, we think, can spread with a lot of asymptomatic and mild cases. And it's not until it gets into the vulnerable groups that you start to see the hospitalizations. So if you wait for that, if the metros and the rural areas don't take care now, by the time you see it, it has penetrated your community pretty significantly. And that's what we're concerned about. And that's why you have to prepare even though you think it's not there.
Dr. Birx, I know it's a busy day. Nothing but busy days for you lately. Thank you very much for your time, ma'am. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Savannah.